hearing from the crowds that you're tough as woodpecker.
He's apologising for kicking a drop goal.
Jorgensen, Max Jorgensen, no, he didn't. Oh my goodness me! Ross there, Ross! He's got the record. Tom Wright, just too good. This is ecstasy for Wallabies fans.
Hey there, welcome back to the Scrum Bags Rugby Podcast. We're your one-stop shop for everything Aussie rugby. I'm your host, Mitch. Joined with me as ever is co-host Lachie. Lachie, we have had the first Wallabies test of the year played overnight in Sydney, packed out stadium, Allianz. I was there. You were not at the game, but you were doing something pretty cool in terms of coverage yourself.
Yeah, we thought we'd try and split the decisions and the services, Mitch. You've got the live coverage coming down from you, screaming at the referee as the Wallabies go down in a nail biter. But we decided that we'd jump in with Dane from Kick On Rugby and run a bit of a live stream. So we ran that through Kick On YouTube. Pretty good fun. There are lots of perils to calling live, I'll tell you that much. Also, the lag killed us. But it was heaps of fun. So thank you for those who jumped on. And if you want to see that kind of stuff rolled out throughout the rest of the test season or into next year for World Cup, let us know. Like, flick us a message on socials, get in touch wherever you can and say this is what we want to see and this is how we want to see it, because it was heaps of fun and we got to get you involved too, Mitch.
Yeah, it looked good. I've got to admit, the plan was that I was going to join you on the live call. Late last minute, we managed to secure some tickets from Nations Championship. We've got 2 tickets sent our way. So very much thank you to the guys over at Nations Championship for lining us up and getting us tickets to attend in person. So me and my brother Tim got to attend the game and some pretty snazzy seats pretty much on halfway to see all that was the Wallabies take on Ireland at Allianz Stadium. It looked from, like, I was sitting in the stadium watching the game and tuning in every now and then to the live stream. I got to admit, I was actually pretty jealous that I wasn't able to jump on and give my thoughts. But it was great to be at the stadium and to see what was a nail-biting test match. And it seems like the live stream got quite a few. It probably went a little bit better than I thought it would in terms of numbers and people actually tuning in. Good sort of crowd of people giving their thoughts, watching along. So I think in theory, the concept have legs, and we'll have to see if we can get it up and running again next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm just as surprised because it's something very new, at least to us trying to do some stuff. I know that was old school pick and drive days, doing a bit of YouTube live, but like going through with a game, not so much calling it as just having a yap and getting people involved. It was good fun, but tell you what, the atmosphere at Allianz sounded incredible. A record crowd for the Sydney Football Stadium, and you're there being a part of history in a game that went into overtime. Like, just what an experience.
Oh, it was awesome to be there. The Sydney showed up, which was great. It very much felt like a festival of rugby. Gets you excited for what the World Cup's going to be next year when you can see the sort of support that the Wallabies have had. And they haven't been getting much success lately, so you'd be surprised I think there's a lot of people that were surprised that this test match actually sold out. And the fact that the Wallabies showed up and delivered the first half, particularly, really, really clinical performance. And we'll get to that in our analysis in a little bit. But yeah, really exciting test match to be at, and it went down to the wire with the kick from Dono at the end to win it. And I mean, whether you agree that that's the right decision or not, it's exciting to be there to see that and to experience that in person. So really, really cool to be at. Great to have the atmosphere. It almost, like, the game ebbed and flowed so much, which was great because you didn't want to be at a game where either one team's getting spanked and so the one portion of the crowd's completely silent. The way that they've designed the SFS, though, the new Allianz Stadium, is so good in that whenever, like, the Wallabies made a line break or did something exciting, it felt like the whole stadium was cheering for the Wallabies. But then when Ireland did something or scored a try, the Irish crowd would also get up and start cheering, and it felt like you were in Ireland or in Dublin. So it was great for both sides, and everyone came out of it just buzzing about how great the game was, how great the atmosphere was. And as I said before, like, the World Cup next year is going to take this atmosphere to the next level.
Yeah, tell you what, playoff rugby, round of 16 games at the SFS, like, that's just going to be incredible. I think we've got I'm not sure the Wallabies are playing at the SFS in the pool stages. I think we've got they're over in Optus, they're over in Suncorp, and they're over in Accor for the All Blacks tests. But a Wallabies test there, or any game that you can jag at the SFS for the World Cup next year, make sure you do it, because 40,000 sounded like 80. And the fact that it's in the heart of Sydney, you're not driving out to Accor, like just having that full house sign up, so good. And it's just the best way for us to be able to pat over the fact that we're 5 minutes into an episode and we haven't talked about the score. Ireland 33, Australia 31. You touched on the last minute kick for Dono, but it absolutely went down to the wire. What did you make of what happened on field?
I think I'm still processing it, I must admit. Like today, I've just been mulling about what that performance was. There's so much to like from the Wallabies. Really enterprising endeavour and attack, like some really great line breaks, the inclusion of Ryan Lonergan and Carter Gordon together. Skeptical when the team was announced to see how those guys would actually play together. It worked. Like that opening 20 minutes, the Wallabies were making line break after line break, punching the Irish defensive line, looked dominant, looked like they were not going to be able to be stopped. And then, a few injuries, Carter goes off, Ryan Lonergan goes off, that HIA thing started to slow down a little bit, Ireland get the momentum back. And then, game management in the last 20 minutes is really probably what needs to be analysed, because it felt like that test match was there for the taking. It very much felt like up until probably 50, 60 minutes, like the Wallabies were in the hot seat. And then it almost like they took their foot off the accelerator, foot off the throat a little bit, allowed Ireland back into the game and made some decisions that on reflection probably weren't the right ones.
It's such a bitter pill to swallow when probably out of the 80 minutes we dominate 60. I reckon it's probably a fair split, but Ireland just kept finding ways to hang tough, to try on the stroke of halftime after all the good things we did, getting a bonus point before the break, like seeing Conan link up with Gibson Park to put him away. That was such a gut punch. So that we, after all the good things we did in the first half, only leading by a try at the break. And then, as you mentioned, like the injuries were costly. The 70th minute, like I can't, I've been playing that over and over in my head, that decision when we've got our tails up and we've got a 5-point lead to opt for poles on a really tough angle. And we lost all the momentum for those final 10 minutes. We just could not get back into it. Yellow card to Lachie Shaw, try at the other end of the field after letting them run 60. And we were so close, because we did so many good things through the game. We smashed through the line, as you mentioned, 10-plus line breaks, 30-plus tackle busts. We dominated set piece. Josh Canham had a worldie. Like, there was so much good out of this game, and yet we still let it slip. And it is our own fault.
Think
it wasn't Irish brilliance.
The frustrating thing yet again, and the memes have been going all week. I've seen it on so many different social accounts, not just us, but it's like the Wallaby season's about to start. I'm ready to get hurt again. And the first test match have hurt us. But the frustrating thing, and this has happened so many times in the past, is the Wallabies played really, really well for the majority of the game. And you look across the last maybe 5 years of Wallabies test rugby, and there's games like this. The one that comes to mind is the Bledisloe down in Melbourne. And it's Whistlegate, it's all of that. We lose the game on the stroke of full time to all the controversy around not kicking the ball to touch. And everyone just erases the fact that in that game, the Wallabies were leading and were leading really well. You then think about the Bledisloe game down under Eddie Jones in Dunedin, where the Wallabies, for 50 minutes, just made the All Blacks look poor. And they looked really good and they performed well. They lost the game, though, because about 15 minutes of ill discipline and a lapse of concentration let the All Blacks back into it. And we're not actually now, you sit back and you think of those games, the only thing you think about is how they lost it at the end. And I feel like, unfortunately, this is the similar type of game that's going to happen moving forward. The best thing would be that the Wallabies show up next week and perform really well against France and get a win. But if they don't, it's just going to be that whole thing of, you look back and you think, oh, that's the game where they played well in Sydney and they lost it because they took that shot at full time. Like, that's what sticks in the memory. And it's not the line breaks. It's not that intercept by Max Jorgensen to Ryan Lonergan on the inside to score. It's not the built-up pressure, the way that they were endeavouring attack. It's the fact that they didn't nail it at the end. And that's what's frustrating, again, as a Wallabies fan, because it's the same narrative. They set themselves up to win, and then they lose it on full time again.
It felt so much like the second Lions test, didn't it, Mitch? Like this
Lions,
incredible
exactly.
first
That
half built off like running, rugby, balls out in front, like seeing the assist work from Josh Canham for the first 2 tries, like pulling passes out the back. Jock Campbell heavily involved in his first test. You could write a book with all the good things that happened in this game, yet you've absolutely nailed it. All that it will be is a footnote in the war and peace of brave losses that we've had to sit through as Wallabies fans. But man, like,
And like how the narrative's always been that we have to lose these ones because eventually we'll start winning them. We haven't done that yet. When are we going to do that? When are we going to turn that corner? Like we'll get to the decision, we'll get to the kick. But the thing that Harry Wilson has been talking about post that decision, he's like, I backed Dono in that. He missed that one. Next time he stands up and he nails it. Will he though? Like, that's happened before. It was Italy all over again. The coach lost his job because he missed a kick from near in front and lost to Italy the first time. Like it has happened before, and he hasn't nailed it. Let's just get into it. Let's get into those decisions. The shots at points. 2 of those penalties in the last 10 minutes. Harry Wilson takes both of those shots from pretty dicey situations and misses both of them. What are your thoughts, Lachie?
I personally don't have an issue with having a shot on the last play. That's not the decision that I have an issue with. When we're doing the live call and kick on, my issue with the decision making comes 10 minutes prior. That 70th minute decision. So we've just had a penalty against one of the Irish players for shepherding off the ball. Box kick goes up, contest on the far right side of the field. The penalty is almost blown in the exact same spot where Dono tries to kick the match winner in the 80th minute. And 5 points up inexplicably, with all the momentum that we had from back-to-back penalties, Harry Wilson decides, no, we're going to go for poles. We're going to go for an 8-point lead. Now, if that's dead in front, and that's a guaranteed one, even if it's within the 15s, and you go, hey, we're in a good position here, Dono can bank this, then I accept that. But that was not a high percentage kick. That was a very low percentage kick on the wrong side for a right footer. And Ben Donaldson's, I believe it was his first kick of the night, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because Carter Gordon had been on for all the scoring involvements up until that point when he went off.
Yep.
I think at that stage of the game, Australia had been pushed backwards consistently by Ireland, who had dominated territory and possession. We needed to soak up time. We needed to soak up territory. And even if we had kicked it, we still would have been marched back into our own area and been under pressure again. So I took umbrage with the decision at the 70th minute because we, for once, had momentum in the back end of that half, and we needed to put the throat down, put on the throat, and go for the line and go, hey, we're going to win this big. We're going to turn 5 into 10, take it to 12, make you score 2 tries in the last 5 minutes, not this sudden runaway of pressure. And then, like, to follow that penalty kick up at the 70th minute with poor kick chase that led to Ireland making an easy 60 metres that they then piggyback penalties off, like that, it felt like I was watching a horror movie, Mitch. I can't agree with that decision in the 70th. And it's not fair that we're bagging them for it because up until that point, they did so much good, yet that was the wrong call. Or am I just the guy yelling at clouds?
I think that's really interesting because I actually have the opposite thought. I didn't have an issue with them taking a shot in the 70th minute because at that point, like you said, they were up by 5. If they got the conversion, if they get their penalty, they're up by 8. So there's a 2 score. They got to score twice to be able to take the lead at that point. And you at least get a minute, if not a little bit more, on the clock in soaking it up. So at that point, I was fine with it. My umbrage is the decision at full time. Once he knew that Dono had missed from the same spot, not 10 minutes earlier, to take that shot, it seemed like it seemed a little bit like Harry Wilson maybe just got a little bit overawed in the moment. I don't know if you could see this on the coverage, but you could definitely see it at the game. He makes a decision. He speaks to Dono. Dono's lining it up and he's going through his process. Harry Wilson's standing off to the side, like obviously going to charge it down, but he was geeing the crowd up. Like he was doing like, get up, clapping, like really, really backing it. And I was like, that's bold. That's a bold decision, mate. Like you're not right in front. You're not certain to win this test match by doing that. And the thing that I think I've been thinking about since is there's a bit of, and I'm sure the listeners know this because it's been spoken a number of times on Between Two Posts, but Michael Hooper has this sort of game plan as captain in that when you get penalties, what option you take and depending on where you are. Effectively, it's like a box. If you're in the 5 meter channel and you get a penalty, even if it's like right in front or like right near the try line, he will go to the sideline every single time because he knows at that point it's very hard to kick at posts. If you get a penalty inside either side of the 5 meter channel, he'll probably, depending on where it is, he'll go to sticks because it's easier to get those shots. Harry Wilson's done the complete opposite of that. Both of those penalties were given in the 5 meter channel, really close to the sideline. And in the 10 meters from halfway, like they were very hard kicks. I don't understand why at that point, like our lineout had been so good all night. It's not like we were losing our lineout. It's not like we go down there. Like in that last play particularly, why not go down into the 22? You're down by 3 points. You're down by 2 points, sorry. Why not go down, kick to the line, go to lineout, and then hopefully get a penalty at that point where if you are going to take the shot, then you're in front or you're much closer to pretty much halfway. Like, just it seemed like really bad game awareness.
Yeah, I agree. And like when I said I'm happier with the decision at full time because like you're backing your guy, my preference is still like that you go the line because of the dominance of that Wallabies lineup. Like look how well Canham had done. And like, yes, he was off at that time, but he'd been excellent up until that point. Maybe they were worried because they had the card to Lachie Shaw and they weren't certain about how they were going to run their line out at that time. Maybe that weighed into it, but like it had been so good all day. And you've got BPA working with Jeremy Williams, who was busting an 80-minute shift out. So like, I still would have preferred that at the end of the day. It's great that Harry's backed his guy and given Dono a chance. Like the man-to-man work, sure, great, whatever. But for me, it still comes back. It's the wrong call at the 70th, and that's clouded the judgment for the rest of the game. And yeah, man, you got to feel for Dono.
Thing too, like as a captain, as a captain, he asked the question. Like he's saying that I backed Dono in saying that he's going to kick it. He asked the question. He came to him and was like, "Do you think you can nail this?" If your boss comes to you at work and says, "Do you think you can knock this task out in the next 20 minutes?" You go, "Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I don't know if I'll get it done, but I'll try my best." You're not going to say no. Like, but Dono's not going to turn to him.
You can say no.
Can you?
Because that's a tough kick. Of course. It's not like Ben Donaldson's this renowned sharpshooter. He's not like a Andre Pollard or that sort of thing. It's good on him for having the stones to do it. But also, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm contradicting myself here because ultimately it's been the wrong decisions. But like,
what I'm saying is Harry should have the management as the captain to go, "I'm not going to put you in that situation. This is a hard shot." Like the best goal kickers in world rugby, Johnny Wilkinson would have struggled to nail that kick. Like that was a really hard kick. It's a long way out and it's in a poor angle. Like he shouldn't have asked him to do it. He should have backed his team and just said, "Let's go to the line. I back our line out."
It's a lose-lose, right? Like you're the hero either way. Because if he backs Dono and he pots it over at the end of this game, we are on our knees at the altar of Ben Donaldson. It's the redemption story. He missed the first one, bags the second.
Rugby. When has any Australian team won that way ever?
Oh, Quade Cooper, South Africa. Like these things happen. These miracles can happen. But like,
you mean Sky Sport analysis extraordinaire?
Sure. But yeah, like it happens. So. No, it's hard. Like it's a heartbreaker. We're all hurting. It sucks. And what would have been the perfect launch pad for our Nations Championship campaign has just started in horrendously predictable fashion.
Mm. Well, let's flip the script though. Let's talk about some positives.
Yes.
And I'll ask you to start. Who impressed you the most? Like who deserves a shout out in their performance this weekend?
Josh Canham. Without question, the best Wallaby on the park for me. I thought he absolutely stepped up and filled the role of the big man that we needed, but also like his involvements at set piece, stealing lineouts, winning ball. He gave away one penalty, which led to a try in which was in the second half, which was a bit of a pain, but like he created two with his short passing game. He was heavily involved in defence. I thought he had an unbelievable shift. And was disappointed when he came off, to be honest. I thought that that changed the course of the game massively for Australia. What about you?
Yeah, I was really impressed with Ryan Lonergan in his start debut for the Wallabies, not the Waratahs. I really liked the way that he moved the ball, how the quick passing and the ability to get the ball into Carter Gordon's hands and to back up. Like he was the one that once Jorgo run away for that intercept, he was the one who's there on the inside and finishes it off. I don't think Tate played badly when he came on, but I felt like for whatever reason, the Wallabies attack just seemed to flow a little bit better. With Ryan Lonergan in the 9 jersey. It was a shame that he went off with that HIA.
Yeah, I agree. I was very impressed with Loners, and that was one of the points of tension, right, going into this game. A new halves combination is never played together, let alone in a test. And it clicked really well, like losing Lonergan before halftime and then Gordon with still, 20 minutes to play? Like we mentioned, Canham going off have an impact, but also Gordon leaving. That was a massive swing.
Mm. Yeah, no, he played really well as well. He was cramping for a while. It was pretty evident, like at the field, like you could tell. It probably was a good 5 to 6 minutes before he went off that he was on the ground doing those hammy stretches and things and cramping up quite badly. So it was a good decision at the time to bring on Donaldson because Carter looked quite cooked. But he played so well. Like his ability to find gaps in the attacking line, take the ball to the line and make those line breaks. They looked really good with him. Steering the ship around.
We just looked so fluid in attack. Like whether it was coming from Lonergan or coming from Gordon, the shape that we were able to throw and the variation with, pulling to the distributor behind or even just playing flat and having big bodies running that unders line. Like we looked so potent in attack. And maybe the Irish were off the pace a bit, I don't know, but we looked so good with ball in hand. Like how many times did we see Bob Valetini, Alan Alatoa, Harry Wilson coming back against the grain and making inroads, and then the next pass is the one that's pulled, and like the work out the back, everything looked out in front, and like the finishing in the first half, so good too. Like how good to see Jock Campbell involved in a couple of tries and try assists early doors, the soft hands from some of the big men too. Like we looked really good for a lot of this game, Mitch.
Yeah, and it might be something that's overlooked a little bit, but I want to shout out Jock Campbell for his involvement in that first try to Peach. Like that ball that I think Lonergan throws, the long cutout ball, and he picks it up. Like there's so many times in Super Rugby this year where that ball's passed and the fullback just drops it. The fact that he picks it up and then takes a few steps and is able to then keep the momentum going over to Peachy, who scores in the corner, that was awesome. And I don't know if you could see so much on the coverage, but that end where he scored was the Irish end of the field, and he shut them up. Like he scored right in front of them, and he gets up and he does his like Indigenous war dance thing, and you could just see they were all like, "Oh shit,
yeah,
that was
play.
Good." Yeah,
here to play. It looked mean. Can we? Okay, so we're talking about lots of good things, and I think there are good things to talk about with this guy, but it's a contentious kind of area, right? I feel like we're always talking about Joseph Akuso-Suaalii, but he did have some great involvements with ball in hand, yet it was actually hanging on to it that seemed to be the problem. Like you were there at the field, he would seem to create so much in attack and then it would just get turned over.
I made a comment to my brother on the night. I was like, he's just getting the Waratahs out of his system. That's basically what it was. Like, no, I say that in jest, but I think that's what it was. The Waratahs this season were so guilty of trying to score every single time they made a line break that's what Joey was doing. He made 3 line breaks when he was in the clear. That tackle by Hugo Keenan was awesome. If Amazing. Joey just held that ball, went to ground and recycled quickly, they score off it. He didn't need to throw the stupid kind of around the back pass to keep the momentum alive. It was like he needed and wanted to score every single time he was in space. And I think that's what everyone's picking up on, is that like he made a few decisions, particularly in space with ball in hand, that he shouldn't have. But he'll get better for that. And that was what the Waratahs were doing all year. They were so individualistically trying to score off every single time they made line breaks. That'll come out of his system and he'll calm down. So yeah, I've seen a lot of comments online saying that he played quite badly. But when you actually look at the stats, like he was one of other, like, yes, he turned
well.
those.
He just couldn't hang on to the bloody thing.
those few times that he turned the ball over, because he was trying to recycle the ball too quickly and keep that momentum going. But when you actually look at the stats, like, he outperformed Ikitau. He was one of our biggest ball carriers and one of our biggest attacking threats of the night. So Ikitau ran 8 times, Joseph Akuso Suoli'i ran 11. Ikitau made 10.5 meters where Akuso Suoli'i made 48.3.
He's a monster. He is so unbelievably talented, and it was just the presence of mind to hold onto the ball and not try and throw the miracle offload, because you don't need to. Like, we do have support coming through, and I know it's going to come with time. He's still, 15 tests into his career, if that. He's still very much a rookie in International Rugby Union, and he's going to get better. But like those decision making, well, the lack of decision making did come back to hurt us when we were able to break the line with such ease. Like, we were carving up this Irish team, and so much of that was off the back of the threats created by our attack shape, and then just the big men. Like, I gave Canham a shout out, but you must have seen this too. Rob Valentini was playing like a man possessed. His numbers are disgusting. We've just pulled them up while you're having a look at the backs, but 68 post contact meters, 6 tackle busts, 2 line breaks, 19 carries. Like, Bobby V was unbelievable and gets you a full 80.
And like, his defensive stats as well, 10 tackles for 100%. Like, not missing a single tackle. Like, he was putting some massive stingers in, and that's one credit that has to go out to this Waratahs. I said it again. Wallabies defensive, and who is the defensive coach at the moment? It used to be Laurie Fisher, didn't it?
He's still there for these last 3 tests, so it must be Laurie.
Yeah, okay. Well, like, their defense in this game was outstanding. Like, there was some shots put on.
Big Allen,
like,
Taniela, like, they were dropping blokes.
Coming out of the line and nailing blokes. Like, that's what you want to see. If you're going to come out of the line, you need to stick your hit, and they were sticking their hits.
Yeah. It was crazy. It was so good. And like, I feel like I should be sad, and I am sad that we lost. I'm sad at the result. I'm gutted at the result. But I'm genuinely buzzed by the performance as well. Like, when you look across every facet, aside from temperament in the key moments in and around halftime and the last 10, I think physically we outperformed the Irish across the whole game. And it was just the little key losses at the back end of the game, losing Gordon, losing Lonergan. Now that I look at it, it wasn't actually Rob that played the full 80. McWright and Wilson stayed on. They pulled Valentini for the last 10. And now I'm looking at that going, no, he's your best guy. Who's your best guy out there? And
you've got to get Hooper on. That's the issue.
But, so riddle me this. I've got a bone to pick about this decision at the end. So they decide to go with Lachie Shaw. Lachie Shaw goes on to replace Josh Canham at the 60-minute mark, roundabout. Lachie Shaw's on debut against the world number 3 when you have a Tom Hooper that can also cover second row. I personally don't think that they should have thrown Lachie Shaw into that kind of environment, under that kind of pressure, when Tom Hooper's coming off a full, brutal Exeter season. I think you go, hey, Hoops, jump into that second row if Canham needs a breather, and we're going to trust our big boys to get it done in the back row. You don't have to use the bench. But Lachie Shaw goes in under immense pressure and ultimately has a negative impact on the game on debut, didn't get a carry, gets a yellow card, puts his team worse off, unfortunately. And he's going to have a massive future, really excited for him, but that decision to put him on, I think, was the wrong one.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to the flow and the amount of time that these guys have in camp. And like, I don't know how many reps Hooper's had actually in the row. And so the argument probably could have been made that with the short time that he's been there, a week, a little bit over a week in camp. He'd be training at 6, I'd imagine. I don't know if he's had time to get in and train in the second row. And that's probably why they didn't feel confident putting him on there. Retrospectively, it makes sense what you're saying. Like, for 100%, put Tom Hooper on. I question some of the tactical decisions about when players came on and how late in the game. Like, I thought that Tom Hooper probably should have come on earlier than he did. And yeah, like you said, taking off Valentini, like he was our stick man. He was our go forward ball. We spoke about that in our preview. Like, outside Valentini, we didn't have that big abrasive ball carrier that we have relied on in the past. So when you replaced him at that minute. Not that we went backwards from there, but we just didn't seem to be making the line breaks as easily as we were when he was taking the ball up, and Big Al as well. And then Tom Wright coming on with 10 minutes, not even.
Three minutes to go. What's doing?
There was one point in the game that I don't think it got picked up on coverage because I chucked it in our group chat that the whole game plan could have very easily fallen apart. In the try that I think it was Canham ended up winning away and scoring it down the other end, Ikitau was on the ground being tended to for 10 minutes, not 10 minutes, by a good 3 or 4 minutes.
Yep.
He was out of the play for a long period of time on the ground. And I thought he might be coming off at that point, and that throws the whole game plan out because we didn't have a Dalgudu on the bench.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we talked about, right? Where's our coverage? Tom Wright comes on for 3 minutes, far out. It felt wrong. I tell you who nailed it though. Come on, we want to talk about good things. The replacement front row coming on for the last 26 minutes, Slipper, Tupou, BPA, they were so good. 2 or 3 scrum penalties,
yep.
Absolutely whacking blokes. That's the kind of injection we love to see. I was so impressed.
Yeah, that penalty, the scrum penalty they got against the feed in our own 22 on the line was awesome.
Amazing.
They were so excited by that. It was awesome to see. That really G'd the crowd up as well.
Yeah, BPA. I can't believe that BPA and Nella are the only players from the last team that beat Ireland. You go all the way back to 2018, and those were the 2 guys in the mix coming off the bench. They played the exact same role. I was so certain of a fairy tale after we won that scrum penalty. I think Slips might have been on his ban.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I am conscious of time and how long we've got left. There are a few other games we need to get to. I just got one point I wanted to raise around the way this game was officiated, and I'm not going to talk about the forward pass and the held up. I know there's a lot of talk online that those were missed by the officiating, but my question is, why did it take so long for the TMO to interject with the disallowed try to Dan Sheehan?
The James Ryan block?
Yes. Why?
Yeah.
Harry Wilson was losing his mind. You wouldn't have seen it on the coverage. You could hear it on replay because I went back and watched it on the train home. You could hear Ben O'Keefe talking to him at the replay. But Harry Wilson ran up and stood in front of I think it was Prendergast taking the shot at goal. He stood in front of him and he's yelling at Ben O'Keefe. He's going, "You need to check it. You need to check it." And Ben O'Keefe's yelling at him "I've told you, Harry, you have to talk to the ARs. Get out of the way." And he was just screaming at Ben O'Keefe. Wouldn't get out of the way. Goes back, talks to the AR. Nothing happens. Gets back to halfway. Ben O'Keefe's standing there. He's asking them to kick off. And Harry's just standing in the way, screaming at him, saying, "You need to check this. You need to check this." Why did it take 2 minutes of Harry Wilson screaming at the referee for the TMO to go, "Actually, we probably should check this"? Yeah. And then overruled it. Where was the TMO initially? That is your job. Your one job.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know because a TMO's right. They get all the angles live straight away. So as soon as that try is scored, they're reviewing it. Regardless of what's going on. They're reviewing the play leading up to it, all that kind of stuff. I thought it was pretty clear that the maul has broken off. Sheehan is no longer part of the maul, and Ryan takes him off the ball. I didn't see it instantly, but I went oh, that's a lot of space for Sheehan to suddenly be in. Maybe you have a look at that
replay.
Yeah, exactly.
I could see that it needed to be looked at from the first replay.
Yeah, but I also wonder whether Harry Wilson running up in front of the tee and screaming at Ben O'Keefe is the best way to do that. It's a tough thing to manage, right? Also, they took a long time to make that decision too. And I was looking at the makeup of that team, and I'm seeing Andre Piatti on the AR, and I'm I'm not sure if he really likes us after Lions.
Did you hear
all
him
that kind of stuff
as well? And Morgan Turinui cuts him off and just starts going off at him. But after they've made that whole decision, he goes, "Now I think we should look at number 18 coming in from the side, Tupou." And then Ben O'Keefe's "Oh, no, shut up," basically. No, we just spent 6 minutes.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
It's an interesting, if you go in and actually listen to their whole interaction, it's really interesting. Ben O'Keefe was never of the opinion before reviewing this that this should have taken the try off. It was Carl Dixon, the English referee on the touchline, was saying it's no try. It's a penalty to to gold to Australia, and he said, "What, you want me to disallow the try?" He's like, "Yeah, he's obstructed him." And then
Yep.
Ben O'Keefe was like shocked by that, and then like, "Oh, okay," and then went through the process. So in Ben's mind, he
Shout
was
out Carl
100%
Dixon.
certain that was a try. But
Yeah.
why? What's going on with the process? We've got a process in place. Why is the TMO not interjecting there? Because that is a situation that needs to be checked. They sweep across the background. How do you sign off on that?
I don't know. I don't know about the TNO process. Maybe we need to get our mate Brett Cronin on. A couple of beers with him over at Super Arena Christchurch. We get his expert advice in. That might be a good way to square the ledger. But yeah, one of many interesting calls that we don't have enough time to sink in for.
Yeah, definitely. But it obviously didn't end up well. I mean, it helped Australia in the end, but
Not
if
enough.
they scored that probably doesn't give them the chance to get back and potentially win it at the end there. Any last thoughts on the Wallabies game before we just quickly touch on some of the other results?
Man, just excited. Like a Nations Championship's hot. Like this was an excellent game, and the games that we're about to get into as well. All of them were exciting. All of them had like great tries, great running rugby. I was dubious about the Nations Championship concept until about a week ago, and I've fully bought into it now. So
Yeah.
long may it rain.
A little bit panicky from my end, but why do the All Blacks get out of having that atrocious white circle on their sleeve? Every other team across the weekend wears the Nations Championship logo that is an eyesore on the jerseys. The All Blacks like, we're too cool. You're not touching this black jersey. We're not wearing it. It's like, if everyone else has to wear it, why aren't you wearing it?
I think we could have got
Fans
away with
wearing
it
it?
just being like been on the goal, just the logo. Just clean it up a little bit. It looks like we've got some kind of sticker on us.
Yeah, no, we were talking about it at the game. You wouldn't have seen the logo. Like it needs to be on the white because, like, if it's just the Nations Championship on the goal, it would have blended in too much. But
Typical
it
All Blacks.
looks horrible. Let's go to that result though. So 32-34 is the final score in this one. Dave Rennie's first test as All Blacks coach, played at One New Zealand Stadium in Christchurch. The All Blacks get up 34-32 to France, but it was a lot tighter than a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah, and myself included. I thought that even though France still had plenty of talent in the squad bringing it over with all those Bordeaux guys, still missing a couple of guns, Malvarka, Dupont, and Tamac, man, they absolutely delivered. Their 2, 9, and 10 combo was extraordinary. Luku was so good. Jalibert had an amazing game. Adesogbe on the wing. There, Max Spring, who shifted across from fullback to wing throughout the game. He was incredible. And Guillard on 19 is an absolute monster. So they did so well. Like, I reckon Dave Rennie laid a couple of eggs up in that coach's box. He would have been nervous as all hell, especially after the start that the French got off to. But, yeah, all came down to the wire again.
Have you seen the interview with Fehi Fanganofo? They were talking to him after the game. Apparently, he was so nervous. He was just spewing his guts up all through the first half.
Yeah,
he said
I can believe that.
He's not normally that kind of player, but he's like, I was just sitting there. He said, I went to the toilet about 3 times that first half. It just wouldn't stay down.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Poor bloke.
Yeah.
He got a call out All Black number 1, 2, 3, 4 for Nianganofo. Awesome little bit of trivia there. But he was like, he had great impact off the bench. I think that like all the people that Rennie was being panned for selecting, as like, oh, there's not enough experience, with Darian Lord. Why are you doing Luke Jacobson at 7? What's the go with your decisions here on Caleb Clark coming back into the mix? Like, man, everyone stepped up. They're just so good. Luke Jacobson was awesome. Love had a terrible start, but managed to do some really good things. And
he was lucky, I think, to escape a red.
Yeah, I think so too. That would have been a nightmare start. But tell you what, like that was an awesome game as well. And France are going to throw plenty of punches next week.
I'm concerned, to be honest. Like, I think the
they're
Wallabies
good.
will match them, but they played really well. And as you highlighted, like they didn't have a lot of their Bordeaux team, or they didn't have a lot of their Toulouse players. So yeah, they're going to be on point on Brisbane on Saturday afternoon. So the Wallabies need to show up well. But yeah, let's keep moving. So some of the other results across the weekend, we had. So that game kicked off on Saturday afternoon before the Wallabies game. So that's the first official game of this new Nations Championship. We then had Japan playing Italy. That kicked off sort of between both of these games, between the Wallabies and New Zealand. It sort of kicked off, I think, like 5:30, 6 o'clock or something, 7 maybe. I didn't catch much of this other than the result was 27-10 to Japan. I didn't see that coming. The only comment I'll say on this is Japan looks so much better without Eddie Jones in the mix. Interim head coach was their forwards coach, Neil Harding, I think his name is, or something like that. And yeah, Eddie Jones still on his band, and they outperform Fiji like that, Italy like that. That's impressive.
Yeah, they were gun. And I thought Italy would have the class coming off the back of a good Six Nations. Obviously, a bit of a break since then. Japan were a cut above. Their forward play was great. I need to go back through and watch the full thing, but really good signs for Japan ahead of a game in Newcastle next week. 2 games to look forward to in Australia next weekend.
That's right. So yeah, if you're a New South Welshman and you haven't got anything on next Saturday afternoon after some Test rugby, get up to Newcastle. I'm sure Dane from Kick-Ons is going to be there to support not Eddie Jones and his Japanese team. But yeah, it's great to see some more Test rugby being played in New South Wales, even if you agree or disagree with the way that it's been handled from a logistical perspective. But then we had all these other games kicked off like middle of the night type stuff in Australia. So we had Fiji playing Wales in Wales, but it was a Fiji home test. 39-24 was the final score in this one to Wales. A little bit funny in this one, and there's been a lot of talk online around what's the point? Like there was talks that playing these games in Fiji, they didn't have enough. The stadiums in Suva and stuff that the Indrua have been playing in Super Rugby aren't big enough for an international test to be played there. They need to have 25,000 seat capacity minimum. I think they're 18. There was 16,000 people showed up to this game. Like, it was poor. It looked really bad. It was a Wales home game in Wales, in Cardiff. Looked so bad.
They're scared. The Northern Hemisphere teams are absolutely terrified of going to the islands and playing test matches. Now, full respect, I think it's Scotland have actually played a lot of tests out in the Pacific Islands in the past few years. Like they've made a note of going and playing in Samoa. Pretty sure they've played against Fiji as well. I have to double check it. But aside from that, like they're absolute cats. They don't want to go to Suva. They don't want to go to Lautoka. Or it's too far. It's too this, it's too that. Come and play in front of like a game that we're not going to market because it's your home game. Like, it was pathetic. It was really pathetic from Wales. And I'm really disappointed that Fiji couldn't hold on and get the win because there's a point in it with 15 minutes to go and 2 late tries because the set piece falls apart. Like, this Fijian side's awesome, and they're being terribly disrespected by the Northern Hemisphere.
There was one comment I read online that the reason they couldn't play these in Fiji, other than the facilities at the game, was the medical facilities required. That in Fiji, they don't have the medical facilities required for an international test for both teams. Whether you believe that or not, I don't know if that's true. But the one thing I will say is Fiji definitely needed medical facilities this game. Like, I don't know if you've seen this, Lachie, but in the space of 5 minutes, they had 2 of their players go off with like broken legs, it looked like. Semi Radradra gets carried off with a broken ankle. Looked really bad. Sucking on the green whistle. Really, really bad scenes for him. He goes off. Not 5 minutes later, their prop, I think it was a Canavere, looks like, again, it looked like his knee. He was sucking on the whistle, take him off on the Medicab. The Medicab driver very busy at the time. I don't know if that's a trend that we need to look at in rugby, but both of these instances were from hip drop tackles. I know it's a big thing in league.
Oh.
Yeah, they were both hip drop tackles where the Welsh players have just grabbed on and just completely dropped their weight onto the lower limbs of the Fijian players. And you don't want to see that in our game. Like, to see both players go off, and that's season injuring stuff. Like, this could potentially, I don't know the ramifications from it. This could be the end of Semi Radradra's international or even domestic career.
That is a huge blow. This is why I need to go back and watch it in full. Like, that's brutal for that to happen as part of a hip drop. And it is a cause of some debate. Like, we've seen some pretty gnarly injuries on both codes, but league are the ones that have really cracked down on it. I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of framework or regulation put in place for really dangerous conduct, but also it's such a difficult thing to manage in union as well. Like, the collisions and the contests are so much busier and tighter. It's harder to get a camera on. So, yeah.
Well, it's like if you're holding on, like, and your feet aren't planted, like, normally you'll see the difference between a hip drop tackle and a dominant tackle is a dominant tackle, the ball carrier is standing. And so the defender's standing. And so he's crouched, he's low, his feet are planted, they're shoulder width apart and shoulder into contact, wrap and go round. It's when you're coming in from behind, you're grasping on and then you just drop your limbs to try and pull that player to the ground, that's dangerous. And that's what's happened in this situation.
Yeah. No, I have to have a look at it.
Yeah, let's get moving though. And so we then had South Africa absolutely smash the living daylights out of England, 45-21. I thought that Henry Pollock was going to show up and win the day for England. So I'm glad to see South Africa pull through and get the chockies in this one. Did you see any of this one? Any thoughts? Stop me if you...
I've seen the highlights. The start, like watching the Box get out to 3-try lead in the first 10 minutes, maybe even less. Like the place was heaving. And fair play to England for fighting their way back into it at half time. So they were only down 17-14 after being smashed into the corner. But like 2 yellow cards late in the piece, it's all that pressure that they're able to generate, and they just rumble on home. So I mean, I don't think did the England score? England scored 1 try. After halftime, Box just rolled the sleeves up for the best. They put on a clinic. So I think just the power game that they're able to bring on, and the fact that you could have a player like Malcolm Marx can play 80 minutes as a test hooker, like that's insane. They just built different.
Yeah, and they lost both Sia Khaleesi and Eben Etzebeth like before kickoff from when the team was named on. I think he names them on Monday. So I don't know what's happened there, but something's happened in late change to them. When you're actually looking through that Box squad to start, initially you're thinking, oh, without Eben and Sia, they'll feel a little bit light on. No issues. No issues.
They have a Cameron Hanekom, and he's basically the Terminator.
Yeah. So I'm not looking forward to that test match against the Box in Perth a little bit later in the year. And then the last the last game to round out round 1 of the Nations Championship was Argentina hosting Scotland. A high-scoring affair in this one, but a outcome I didn't expect to see. 47 to Scotland, 38 to Argentina. I actually thought Argentina had enough oomph and sort of form coming into this to probably beat Scotland, but no, they didn't.
Yeah, I've only caught the highlights of this one. Keen to watch this one back, but from what I could see, it just looked like Sione Tuipulotu was carving them to bits. Like, he didn't have his regular partner, Hugh Jones, there, but man, I don't think he needed him. He was so gun. It's just like every time I watch him play, I'm like, oh, why don't we let you go? But he was the difference. And Kyle Rowe was sensational at fullback. Like, he's involved in so many of their highlights. I did a quick numbers check as we jumped onto this one. 150 meters run and 105 post contact. Like, he was like a pinball. Unstoppable. And maybe just the case of the RGs not having enough time together in camp. They're all scattered all over Europe, whereas there's that concentration of 2 clubs in Scotland, and they're just coming off URC seasons where I think the deepest they got was did Glasgow host a semi-final and lost to the Bulls from memory? Yeah. So like they've had a long time. They would have had about a month together off the back of that with Edinburgh in camp ready to go. And they've caught Argentina with their pants down. So fair play to the Scots. I reckon of all the results, that's the most surprising this weekend and probably the biggest with regards to how far Scotland can go in this comp.
I mean, Japan pantsing Italy is a big
but Japan on home soil. Like I probably undersold the Japanese. I was backing the Italians to get it done, but like this for me, that's a huge win. Like winning in Argentina is grim. It's tough, and they've done it pretty comfortably in the end.
Yeah. I will quickly just run through round 2, which is coming up next weekend, and some of the fixtures there. We will do our previews later in the week, so do make sure you tune into our extra time coverage on Patreon if you want to get a bit of a preview of what's coming up this coming weekend. And then I've got a thought that I just want to run by you to finish the pod. So on Saturday, the 11th of July, we have New Zealand hosting Italy. They actually don't have on the official website where these games are being hosted. So
that one's in Wellington.
So Italy will get the win there. Then we've got Australia playing France on Saturday afternoon, 5:40 local time kickoff, which is a great little bit of afternoon footy for everyone. Make sure you get out of your club rugby early, get home for this one. That's at Brisbane. We then have Japan hosting Ireland in Newcastle, 10 past 8 kickoff there. Fiji hosts England. I don't know where this game's being played, and
that'll be at Twickenham.
Yeah, that leads into my second point I'm going to ask you in a second. So yeah, Twickenham, South Africa hosting Scotland, and then Argentina plays Wales. Both of those early kickoff Saturday morning in Sydney, Brisbane, Australia, wherever you are. Just a thought that I've had watching these games and watching the sort of how it's all going to line up. There's a heap of travel. involved in this competition. And I feel like if there's one thing that's going to potentially eat into the viability of this moving forward, it's that travel element. The fact that Fiji is playing all their tests in Europe doesn't help. And in terms of like parity from travel from the first half of the competition to the second half of the competition, I don't know how fair it is. You look at currently like the Wallabies, they play this week in Sydney. Next week they'll go to Brisbane. They'll play in Brisbane. Then they go to Perth. So that's a fair bit of travel in a week. And then you've got the opposition. So France, for example, New Zealand, then to Australia, and then to, I'm actually not, round 3, maybe Argentina.
Japan,
maybe.
Yeah.
Wherever it is. So that's a fair bit of travel. On the other end of the year when we go up north, like if you're playing France or you're playing Scotland or England, like those guys will play 3 weeks in a row at the same stadium. They don't have to travel. There's only one stadium that England plays out of, and that's Twickenham. There's only one stadium that Scotland play out of, and that's Murrayfield. Like I don't know if the travel component's been thought about, and the fact that England have had to play South Africa in South Africa and then head home to play Fiji at home in England, like that's a hell of a lot of travel for a week of rugby.
Like it is. I think it's more of a problem for the North. Like I feel like Southern Hemisphere, we're kind of used to this stuff. Like you do your trip. Like think about Force playing over in Drua. Think about like the old hauls that you used to have to do. Like I think it's just part of it. I think you have to do it in order to cash in on all these big countries and these big names. I don't have a real problem with it. It'll be interesting to see what the players think after this 3-week block of fatigue. But like with your point around the home nations having their home base, like that's just a result of their country size. Like if we played all our tests out of Sydney, I mean, you'd be stoked, but also we have a terrible record and then you wouldn't get to other places. So I think it's just part of being a big country like Australia and getting the game all the way around.
Never lose again.
Honestly, I saw someone comment on this, and I'll finish on this. We've won 5 of our last 25 in Sydney.
Yeah, and
that
most of those against Wales.
Appalling.
We're a tier 2 nation, probably.
Far out, man. So maybe we just get rid of Sydney for the rest of the year. Move a couple of games up to Brizzy, see how we go.
Well, I hate to be bearer of bad news, but next year in the World Cup, all of Australia's toughest games are in Sydney.
Yep.
All Blacks. Round of 16s in Brisbane, which is helpful, but then quarter, semi, and final are all in Sydney. So we have to get over that.
We're going to need to get over our Sydney curse.
Maybe we need to do what Matt Dunning suggested for the Force and start playing in the away change room.
Possibly. We might just need to sage the whole place. Maybe we need to get around and do a bit of woo-woo, get the crystals out. Something needs to change because we're just not doing well in Sydney.
Yeah. Well, start playing at Penrith or something. Lead into
anything else, or we're going to wrap you up and get you out of here?
Let's finish it there. Actually, last little bit of news or little bit to talk about. We are running the official Nations Championship Fantasy this season. So it's the official platform that's run by Nations Championship. So I don't know if we actually put this out on our socials because looking at the results from week 1, it's us and one other guy, Glenn Flickytow, who's in
that's me. That's because our league is still private.
Oh, it's private. That's right. Jeez, how do we figure that out?
I don't know. We'll fix it up.
It is not great. It's not great.
We might can it. We've already missed a week.
Oh, well, people should be able to still, like, if you've played week 1, you should just come in. I'll have a look now and see if we can open it up. But get in there because Scrumbags has smashed Glenn Flickytow. So I've won week 1. Locking in. You've been beaten. But yeah. Keep an eye on our
happens all
socials.
the time. I'm used to it. Yeah, we'll push it out, see if we can make it public, and hopefully maybe it's not just the two of us pissing around. Thanks, everyone, for jumping on. We will be back with extra time on Patreon coming up on your Wednesday night, Thursday morning. We might even hold it a little bit for team naming. We'll play it by ear. So make sure you check it out over there. If you haven't had a look at the live stream over on Kick On, please go do check that out. Follow us on all the socials, X, TikTok, Instagram is where we do most of our work. And until next time, bye.
Bye.
We're not going to France for the croissants.